Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and bishops of Great Millstone who teach and rule well, and salutations to the beloved brothers and prophets continue to exhort the sheep in these last days. And a mighty shalom to the hopeful elect listening in, to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Shalom, shalom. The title of this epistle is going to be entitled, You Have Need of Endurance. You have need of endurance. Get back up and get in the race. We are called to continue to push the plow and feed the Lord's sheep. He says, if you love me, to feed my sheep. This is not the time to be complacent, lackadaisical, and be drifting away from your duties. For a day off can ultimately lead to a disastrous issue, if you will. The wolf will come in and scatter the sheep. You know, if you are complacent and not feed the Lord's sheep. So you have need of endurance to continue to do the work while it is yet day, right? While there's still work to do. So let's not faint in well-doing. Let's jump into James chapter 1 and verse 12, and it reads, Blessed is the man that endureth temptations, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which Yahweh hath promised to them that love him. When you say you love the Father, that is a covenantal oath that you are going to keep his ways and continue to walk in them, and not be susceptible to the transgression, not be susceptible, Salakia, to temptations, right? Temptations, no matter what they are, they can be anything that can divert you from your duties. And if you have cares of this life, it is called that we put them down and pick up our cross and follow the Messiah. Because this is not a place of rest, although the body yearns for rest sometimes. And we have need of rest. We still need to continue the race and persevere and have endurance to continue the work to feed the Lord's sheep. Verse 13 of James chapter 1 says, Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of the Most High. For the Most High cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempt he any man. Although the temptations and the trials of life, if you're being tried and tested, he is not planning to overthrow you and put more burden on you than you cannot handle, but is to grow you in an area that you may need to be strengthened. And this takes endurance. Some of you, brethren and ladies out there, go to the gym. And I see most people fall off and fail when trying to obtain a goal in fitness by prematurely celebrating and putting down the endurance that it takes to continue to grow. And just like in the ministry, to grow our faith and grow in our wisdom and understanding, it takes perseverance in trials and in situations to stretch us to be called to that higher calling. So no man can say that the Most High Yahweh Yahawashi is tempted of evil. Sorry, distracted with the moth or whatever it was. James chapter 1 verse 14. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. The reason I say you have need of endurance is because many men have come into the truth and have put down the plow and have been tossed back out into the utter darkness. They have been tossed back into the outer darkness because either they were lured away and enticed with something of the world, or became too complacent in doing the Lord's work and they were unfit to hold that office. So when every man is tempted, he is drawn away of his own lust It's not the lust of the Father, because the Father is trying to grow us into those holy priests to rebuild the tabernacle of David. Verse 15, James chapter 1. Then when lust hath conceived, it bringeth forth sin, and sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. So now, since you have stumbled in temptation and didn't have that patience to endure those trials, you are now, in a lack of better words, continuing to spiral out of control and put on iniquity after iniquities, into which it will ultimately bring forth death. So you have need of endurance. Sorry, we have need of endurance. We all need to have our faith tested in order to prove to the Father that we are devoted to him solemnly, like a bride. Right? You have need of endurance. Let's go into Sirach chapter 2, starting from the top. Everyone knows this. My son, if thou come to serve Yahweh, prepare thy soul for temptations. So now that you're saying that you are willing to sign up to run this race in faith and in righteousness, and in putting on wisdom and separating yourselves from the ways of this fallen world, coming out of darkness and coming into that marvelous light, now you're going to have to be purged of iniquities and things that were systemically built into your character and mannerisms and behaviors that are not becoming of being a holy priest. So now you have need of endurance. My son, if thou come to serve Yahweh Yahweh Shai, prepare thy soul for temptations. Set thy heart aright. Means stay focused on now what is going on, because now you have built up a level of understanding that there are certain things written in the scriptures that might come your way, and if you are not prompted and ready for it, you can be overthrown and will not be able to endure the temptation or trial. Make sense? Set thy heart aright and constantly endure. Constantly endure. You may lack certain things. You may be put through trials. It may be a combination of all things. But, practice being patient and quiet and study these things out so you can identify them while they're happening in real time. So you're not overthrown as if it was something spontaneous that happened to you. That's a precept somewhere. I forgot where it was. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. Right? Don't be so quick to jump out the fire, but stay focused in what's going on around you. Be mindful of all things and put on these good fruits of integrity and wisdom and your faith abounding, and learning what it means to put on the image of Hamashiach Yahushai. Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Remember, you're going to be increased no matter the circumstances. If your patience is being tested, if you're found in contentious situations. Sorry, I got the window open, and they feel like it's the best time to come and land on the light. So land on the light, right? Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. Right? No matter what it is, persevere. Don't think it's unfair. Don't complain. Don't murmur. Don't faint. Have joy in it. These are moments where you can strengthen yourself and then strengthen your brethren. So that way, whatever you happen to go through, you can share so everyone is aware. Share so everyone's aware. Romans, let's go to the book of Romans, chapter 5. Romans chapter 5, verse 3. Romans chapter 5, verse 3, it says, and not only so, but we glory in tribulations. We glory in tribulations. Also, knowing that tribulation worketh patience. Your patience is going to be exercised, right? And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also, knowing that that tribulation worketh patience, and patience experience. The Messiah, he learned by experience the sufferings. He had to endure the wicked people around him, and it was agonizing, as it was Lot. You know, that crown of thorns, those aggravating thoughts that come about you when you are around those that are contentious and fleshly and argumentative and don't see things how they should see them. By experience, it works as patience, and experience hope, right? Don't let your hope be deferred. Verse 5, and hope maketh not ashamed, because the love of the Most High Yahweh, or Yahweh Shai, is shed abroad in our hearts by the Ruach HaKodesh, which is given unto us. That's another faith booster. It's not given to everyone. So these trials of our faith, we must continue to grow in them and exercise the fruits of the Spirit, being humble, being meek, and glorifying Yahweh Shai through it all. This is something that's resilient to pressure. Those lively stones, those gems that he's going to put in the ephod. These are particular and precious unto him. These can withstand pressure and not fold and buckle, and can endure all things. Romans chapter 11. Romans chapter 11. Romans chapter 11, verses 18 to 21. We have need of endurance, and we reflect on our forefathers and why they were broken off from the natural branch because of unbelief. They didn't have the patience to endure these things and see that light at the end of the tunnel and stand on his promises. But they lacked endurance, they lacked faith, they lacked the patience as to where we will persevere. He says, will I find faith? Yes, you will. You will find faith. It will be among your elect. Romans chapter 11, verse 18 on down. It says, boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee. Don't be so high-minded and prideful, because you may have been called. You don't know if you're chosen. Don't just say that you belong to a particular tribe, and you get too high-minded and you start looking at other people like so on and so forth. He says, don't boast. Don't boast against the natural branches, but if thou boast, thou bearest not the root. You're becoming very proudful and haughty. But the root thee. Thou wilt say then, the branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. Well, because of unbelief, they were broken off, and thou standest by faith. Right? Now we need to have our belief substantiated with faith, having that hope that when we continue enduring, that we'll receive the crown of life and continue to do these things and endure to the very end. Be not high-minded, but fear. We must also reverence that fear. Have endurance and the patience built up on fear. For if the Most High Yahweh Yahushua spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he not spare you also. Right? We want to enter into that rest. Don't let us think that, we have entered into that rest lest anyone fall short of that promise. Right? Give me 1 second. Damn Beatles, man. Sorry. 1 second. Boom. Psalm 78. Psalm 78. We have need of endurance, right? We have need of endurance. Psalm 78. We'll grab up verse 5. Psalm 78, verse 5. For he established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers that they should make them known to their children. Right? They were supposed to continue in teaching the generations, so that way they would be built up in the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the scriptures to stay within that covenant blessing. Verse 6, that the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their children. Right? This was what our nation was supposed to continue doing, is doing this book. Psalm 78 and verse 7, that they might set their hope in the Most High and not forget the works of the Most High, but kept his commandments, and might not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, the ones that were broken off from the natural branch, a generation that set not their heart aright. We read that set your heart aright, right? And whose spirit was not steadfast with him. You need endurance to continue to keep the pace and the flow of things to consistently endure. We're jumping over to verse 10 of Psalm 78. They kept not the covenant of the Most High and refused to walk in his law and forgot his works and his wonders that he had showed them. Same thing for Akim today. When they're doing the work, not reflecting on the blessings and the things that he has already done, by giving you a what do you call it? A down payment of the Ruach HaKodesh already working with you, and you have to continue to do the rest of the work in order to fulfill that promise. Psalm 78, verse 11, and forgot his works and his wonders that he had showed them. Marvelous things he did in the sight of their fathers in the land of Egypt, in the field of Zoan. He divided the sea and caused them to pass through, and he made the waters to stand as a heap. He does all these miraculous and amazing things that are inexplicable to the mere mortal, that we lose faith and we lack the patience and will not endure as they did. He divided the sea and caused them to pass through, and he made the waters to stand as a heap. In the daytime also he led them with a cloud, and at night with a light of fire. He clave the rock in the wilderness and gave them drink as out of great depths, like he's doing today. You continue to beat a rock, the water's going to come out, that wisdom's going to be poured out, and then others can drink from it, be enlightened by the sufferings of the righteous. He clave the rock in the wilderness and gave them drink as out of the great depths. And he brought streams out of the rock and caused waters to run down like rivers. A lot of wisdom was flowing around them. And even in this time, people reject it. There's pools of Siloam that the Most High, and small sanctuaries that the Most High is establishing all over Babylon the Great. And people do not take no notice of it. Verse 17 of Psalm 78, and they sinned yet more against him by provoking the Most High in the wilderness, and they tempted the Most High in their heart by asking meat for their lust. Yea, they spake against the Most High. They said, can the Most High furnish a table in the wilderness? Sounds like they were mocking him right there. Behold, he smote the rock, that the waters gushed out, and the streams overflowed. Can he give bread also? Can he provide flesh for his people? Therefore, Yahweh heard this, and he was wroth. So a fire was kindled against Jacob, and anger also came up against Israel, because they believed not in the Most High and trusted not in his salvation. We need that endurance to continue to run this race and consistently keep that at the forefront of our mind, that there's promises awaiting. There's a promises awaiting his children. Whether or not we are of that hopeful elect or not, we hope to be part of that precious number if we continue to endure all things. Verse 23, though he had commanded the clouds from above and opened the doors of heaven and had rained down manna upon them to eat and had given them of the corn of heaven, man did eat angels' food. He sent them meat to the full. That wisdom that he was pouring down from heaven and onto the field of his pasture was plenty of them to consume and eat, to be built up with that wisdom. Verse 26, he caused an east wind to blow in the heaven, and by his power he brought in the south wind. Verse 27, he rained flesh also. He also fed them substance for their body. He rained flesh also upon them as the sand of the sea, right? And he let it fall in the midst of their camp, round about their habitations. So they did eat and were well filled, for he gave them their own desire, right? He says, I'll give you the desires of your heart, and our desires of our heart should be what he desires for us. Anything outside of that is us wanting something that we're not, like he's not fulfilling everything that we need, our daily bread. So they did eat and were filled, for he gave them their own desire. They were not estranged from their lust. They were not separated from their lust. They weren't fully converted and convinced in their mind and had that belief. But they were going through the motions, if you will. They worshipped him with their mouth, but not their heart, like our people here. They were not estranged from their lust, but while their meat was still in their mouths, the wrath of the Most High, Yahweh Bahashem Yahawashi, came upon them and slew the fattest of them. The fattest of them, that's the Lord's portion. He requires the kidneys, the fat. They were an acceptable sacrifice. The wrath of the Most High came upon them and slew the fattest of them and smote them down, the chosen men of Yasharallah. Right? For all this they sinned still and believed not for his wondrous works. This is why they were cut off. Right? This is why they were cut off from the natural branch. Because they lacked the belief. They didn't have that endurance to see the promises and stand on his promises. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 12. Hebrews chapter 12. We'll grab verse 1. What? Hebrews 12. Sorry. I am a little tired. Hebrews 12, verse 1. It says, wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses. We read in Psalm 78 that he led them out by a cloud by day and a fire by night. That cloud by day is that cloud of witnesses, the elect that led them out at that time. That fire by night was those same prophets that had the spirit of prophecy on them. This is how you are guided, because the anointed prophets are the Lord's strong arm of salvation to redeem you out of Babylon the Great. Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which does so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us, looking unto Yahawashi, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross. He endured all things for the sake of the elect, endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of the Most High. The same things that the Most High has suffered, we are a partaker of that cup of suffering as well. This is the call of the elect. But we have to endure. We have to endure and have that endurance. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 24. Proverbs chapter 24. Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 10. It says, if thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small. He says, if you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. You were not built up. You were not strong enough to endure the trials and the day of adversity, in which we are called to be very strong. Very strong. Let's go and grab Joshua 1 and 9. Joshua 1 and 9, he says, have not I commanded thee, be strong and of a good courage, be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for Yahweh your power is with thee wherever thou goest. Right? You do not want to faint in the day of adversity because you are found weak, but you want to be built up and strong and very firm in your understanding and belief, because that is going to be where you can draw power from, having that faith, because you have endured the trials of refinement that the Most High has beset upon us. We must be strong and continue to endure, right? Let's go into Hebrews chapter 10. Hebrews chapter 10. Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 36. I'm going to grab 35. Hebrews 10 and 35. It says, cast not away therefore your confidence, which hath great recompense of reward. Remember, that the things that you're doing for the Most High Yahweh Shai and enduring these things, it has a recompense of reward coming your way. You're storing up your treasures in heaven, not here on earth. Right? We're running a race and enduring in the race to be redeemed and be recompensed with a reward. Thus saith Yahweh our power. Verse 36, for ye have need of patience, that after ye have done the will of the Most High Yahweh Shai, ye might receive the promise. There's no telling when he will say, well done, my good and faithful servant. You can now rest. No telling when he will say these things. But he will say these things to you if you continue to endure. For yet a little while, and he that shall come will come and will not tarry. Now the just shall live by faith, but if any man draw back, my soul shall have no pleasure in him. Do not be ones that draw back. Continue to endure these things. Whatever you're going through, the trials of your faith, endure these things. Endure these things with joy. He says, whatsoever is brought upon you, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate, right? Endure these things. Let's go to Galatians chapter 6 and verse 9. Galatians chapter 6 and verse 9, it reads, and let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. And as we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith. This is what we are commanded to do, to edify each other while it's still called today. Put in your brick, endure, Do all things, cheerfully, without murmuring and without unbelief. Let's go to Peter. First Peter 1:7. It says that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold that perisheth, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Hamashiach Yahushai. Your faith is going to be tried like gold in fire, refined, the refiner's fire. So you are something worth preserving, unlike the reprobate silver that he calls his 2/3. Reprobate silver. That sounds like a lesson. Proverbs 24. Almost done. Oh, wow. Proverbs 24 and verse 16. It says, for a just man falleth 7 times and riseth up again, but the wicked shall fall into mischief. This is what those who continue to keep the Most High Yahweh Shai's word and fear him, you're going to get back up. You're going to rebound. You're not going to let your sins weigh you down, but you're going to have that endurance to get back up. You can get tired. You can get tired. But joy cometh in the morning. New days he gives us, right? I think that says, yeah, let's go to 2 Timothy real quick. 2 Timothy 4 and verse 7. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. This is a future verse that we may hope to be uttering when we continue to endure until the end. And with that, I will finish out with Matthew chapter 24. Matthew chapter 24. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 13. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Endure to the end. Have endurance, have patience, have faith. Continue to be edified. Stay locked in. Feed the flock. And I pray that this was edifying to the elect. With that, shalom, shalom.